So I got four things that I have found social media to be particularly helpful for and that I enjoy using it for. And maybe as you create your own creative business, you'll be able to arrive at a similar place to where I'm at. The very first thing I'll say is that I think that turning to social media as a tool for personal and self development has been immensely helpful. I'm someone who has used social media to create my entire teaching business. So, for those who don't know, I have a business built around pronunciation and communication. I help students learn American English, and students primarily find me through two YouTube channels that I've created. But the more that I've used social media, and it's been great to be able to indirectly build an entire life around it, the more I've also come to realize that I think that viewing social media solely as a tool for promotion is a way that may help us develop a more negative approach to it, because it again gets into that stance that, like, oh, I'm doing this because I have to, or I'm doing this because I feel like I should be doing it, but I don't necessarily enjoy it. And I think that the more that we can reevaluate that relationship, the more that we can turn social media into something that we can look forward to doing. I look forward to doing my live streams with my students. It's not something that I dread or that I'm like, oh, I feel like I have to do it. No, it's a privilege. I get to do these things. I don't have to do them. I get to do them. And I think the more that we can find ways to connect with the work in a way that we enjoy on our own terms, I think the more that we can start to approach our work in a way that becomes more meaningful for us and more helpful. And we stop viewing social media as a negative tool, but as one that maybe isn't necessarily, 100% like positive or anything like that, but is something that can lead to our own development. Many people who talk to me have heard me say that, oh, I really think that it would be great if you started your own YouTube channel. I think it would be great if you started your own podcast. Why is that? Like, well, what's the value in this? Why would anyone care to listen to what I'm going to say? Why would anyone think to tune in? I don't get why having my own podcast is that big a deal. Who cares? And I think we're kind of missing the point. Like, imagine a topic that you're very interested in, a topic that you enjoy, and that maybe it's also a topic that you know a lot about. And imagine that you get to talk about that topic every week for an hour. Is that something you already do? If it is something you already do, imagine you get another hour to do it. And if it's not something you already get to do, well, imagine in both these cases all the things you're going to learn. I have become a better teacher since I started my YouTube channels. I've become a better teacher since I started using my teaching YouTube as a podcast and stripping the audio. I've become a better poet and writer the more that I've created podcasts, episodes like this around poetry and writing. I've become better at business by having the time to just sit and talk about the things I've done in business, whether they've worked or not. And if other people are watching this, like if you're watching this episode of Arts and Offers, thank you. I hope you're finding this helpful. But I think that the bigger thing is that I'm learning from it. There's a selfish shame to it, right? I'm getting something from it. And so this ties into this idea that I'm not using social media as a social tool necessarily, although I'm, providing resources there for people to check out. I'm using it as a way for myself to explore myself and to understand, how do I think about different topics? What's my stance on this? To give a really quick example of this, from a teaching perspective, I used to only focus on very typical things that teachers do for pronunciation. A lot of teachers, when they teach pronunciation, they're very focused on things like, where do you put your tongue? What do you do with your lips? What do you do with your mouth? This part of the body, what do you do there in order to achieve a natural sound? And by creating a podcast and videos around pronunciation, I've expanded so much, because I started off making those same videos. The same videos are just talking about structural changes to make in the mouth area. But then I've understood that, oh, there's a lot more happening here. Like I started asking myself, and some teachers, when you're seeing them teach pronunciation, like let's imagine they're teaching like an ooh sound. And when the way they teach that often is with like really round lips. They're like ooh, ooh, with like super round circular lips. But then later on in other videos, when you see them teaching, they say words like moon or tooth and they have very straight lips. And so it kind of started off with me just kind of wondering like, hey, like how are they still able to achieve a natural sound even though they're not doing the things that they taught? It's different. And some of the videos I would make would be about analyzing, my students' speech or analyzing like celebrity speech who are learning English and just kind of noting the differences and eventually finding out about things like, oh, well, there's actually a lot of like breath involved, or there's a lot of pitch techniques, or there's things happening with different sounds that aren't entirely related to mouth position things. I say this to say that I've learned about teaching by being able to talk about teaching. I've learned, for instance, about writing. We have videos where we analyze people's poems, where we give feedback, where we teach. We have our Poet Business Institute meetings that we have on once a week, and we record those. And when I have to prepare those workshops, knowing that I'm going to post them online, I have to make the lesson plan, I have to plan the activities, I have to make them, and then I have to actually teach them. But the nice thing about it is that those workshops that I teach, I can teach them again. It's not a one-off. And in fact, when I need to teach it again later, what I can do is I can watch the way I taught it. And I can see, oh, the students really responded well to this. Or, oh, I don't like how I taught that idea. Let me revisit it, change up the approach. And so I become a better teacher myself by creating those videos, by recording the sessions I do for the Business Institute and posting them online for others to also learn from. Because I'm not the only one who can learn from. And that's why we post it online, right? Because we can gain from it too. Well, now I can also think about, how can I learn from this? And I can remember what I taught, and then I remember it better, and then I get better at teaching it the next time, and it just creates this cycle that can repeat over and over again. So that's why I think this personal development aspect of social media, when I'm posting things, if I'm thoughtful about the posts, if I take the time to really think about what I'm writing about, or what I'm posting a video about, or what I'm taking a picture of, and really describing it, the more I'm able to put myself into that post, whatever it is that I'm sharing with the public, the more I'm also able to dive into myself.